the campaign team's been onto it since the last lockdown?
Probably since the second lockdown started, we had to think about what we would do. We came up with this plan. We started slowly working out how you would do it, and then finally settled on these brilliant facilities that are here, and it's worked pretty well for us. Cost-wise, comparable.
What do you mean by that?
Oh well, all campaign launches are expensive, but this is no more expensive. But you know, you've got a lot more production involved in this, so it's probably slightly cheaper than a big, huge gathering. But the big gatherings are very nice to have.
How hard is it to perform without that crowd of 4,000 people cheering you on?
Well, it was actually really great because we had a fabulous audience, and I also thought too is that I really believed everything I said. It was a speech that you can imagine that I had enormous input into, and I really enjoyed writing it. I loved the lines talking about the people of New Zealand and how we back them, and you know, I just felt it was something that I owned that speech in terms of what was in it, and I just loved saying it.
Was it disappointing to have a day like this kind of marred by the announcement of the Finance Minister that there was a $4 billion gap in National's books?
Oh, look, come on, nothing Grant Robertson says worries me.
How can...
Do you know, I didn't have to say anything, as you would imagine, and that's generally the way that I like to lead. When I've got really high-performing people and there's a little error, you know what, they're feeling it bad themselves, and so Goldie didn't need me to tell him off.
It's not really a little error though, is it?
Oh, it is, it is.
It's
yeah.
$4 billion.
Yeah, it's actually over 4 years, over 10 years it means very little. It's the difference between a 35% debt to GDP ratio and a 36%. That's nothing compared to Labour's 48%. It's only a matter of projections.
How can New
frustrating
Zealanders
is
trust
it,
you to
though?
run the books if you can't get this right?
How frustrating is it, though, when you're really trying to sell this message that you guys are the best ones to manage the economy?
Well, it's actually entirely inconsequential. When we talk about this, I think it's always best to remember, you know, 100,000 houses promised for Kiwi Build, child poverty, children being told that material hardship for children would go down significantly. It's gone up by 4,000 children in 3 years. You just think about the State House waiting list. I think people understand that an error was made, it was owned up to, and actually I've got no problem with that. The fact is that if everybody went through life thinking that they could never ever make an error, actually no one would get out of bed in the morning.
You will have to pay for it. As the leader, though, will you apologise for this?
Well, I think that who should be apologising is Jacinda Ardern for expecting that a 48% of GDP to debt to ratio of GDP is actually acceptable. We're saying at least 36. Oh, I don't think anyone's worried about it. Do you know what people are really worried about? Is why it is that they can't have $3,000 back in their pockets.
So
can you really describe a $4 billion shortfall as inconsequential?
Well, it's over, you're talking about over 10 years or 15 years. I mean, whatever it is, it's a projection only. And it's 35% to 36% of a debt to GDP ratio. That's nothing compared to the 48%. These are simply forecasts. And, of course, there was an error. And Goldie is feeling very bad on it. And he's no doubt told you so.
So
is that mistake?
Apologise for this?
Well, I think who should be apologising is someone who says that someone on the average earner cannot have $3,000 of their money back.
But no
I think they can.
Do you think Jacinda
Well, no,
Ardern
it's an
should
error.
apologise
Yep.
for the National Party's mistakes?
Sorry?
Do you think Jacinda Ardern should apologise?
No,
for
I
the
think
National
Jacinda
Party's
Ardern,
mistakes in calculation?
Jacinda Ardern should apologise for promising New Zealanders that $2 billion would kickstart the Kiwi Build program, that 16,000 houses would now be built, and now there's 500.
Your
So
calculation
those
is
are the
worth
things.
2 Kiwi Builds.
What's that?
Your calculation is worth 2 Kiwi Build programs.
No, it's not money spent. They spent the money. That's the difference.
Ms. Collins, you've got
Yep.
two popular Prime Ministers in your international, and that is in terms of John Campbell English. Why were they involved in today's campaign?
Well, they are involved. They're involved. They've been shown on the video, but obviously we are restricted by the number of people we're allowed to have here. And you also see that they are both involved in a televised advertisement that's on our Facebook page, and they've both been saying very, very supportive things, and they've both been very supportive to me personally.
Where were they in the video?
Would you like them to be more visible on the campaign?
Well, I think that that's up to them. The main thing is we're not simply campaigning on everything that has been done. We're looking into the future, and it's really important that look into that future, that we have a plan, that New Zealanders want that plan in place. And by the way, $3,000 in the back pocket is a huge, big plan.
So where were John Key and Bill English in that video?
Well, everyone knows that it's going to be tough. Everyone knows that. And I just think, I just love coming from behind and getting through there. I just think people need to be really positive about the fact that we have a plan for New Zealand and for the economy. And the current people seem to have no plan except sitting around saying they want to take more money off people. We're so positive about the future, and all they want to do is hark back to saying, oh, look, look what we've done here. Well, they've done nothing with child poverty except make it worse. They've done nothing with housing except make it worse. And the only people really cheering would be people saying, well, house prices have gone up 27% under a Labour government, and they said they were going to sort the problem. Well, it says everything, doesn't it?
Why did you change your slogan?
Which slogan, dear? Oh, we have multiple slogans. There's multiple slogans, actually, because, of course, we have a change of slogan in terms of the launch, the campaign launch. We think that's a really good way to actually freshen it up. And of course the campaign is going on a month longer than what we anticipated.
You're not going to use Strong Team anymore?
Oh, we are using Strong Team, absolutely.
How are you feeling ahead of your televised debates?
Well, I think it'll be great. Really looking forward to it. Always enjoyed debating.
You think you can win?
Well, that'll be up to the people. But I tell you what, I'm not playing to lose.
Can I ask you about the Greens policy? They've
Oh,
put
have they
out,
got one? What's that?
Fisheries policy today, and their plans are around getting rid of the most harmful methods of fisheries and also protecting 30% of our oceans by 2030. What's your take on that, and when will National be announcing it?
Do you know, it's really hard for me to take the Greens and fishing seriously at all. I mean, they had an opportunity to vote with National on protecting the Kermadex, and they failed to do so. They gave in to Labour and New Zealand First, so it's hard for me to take them seriously.
Is fishing policy something you're working on? Is that a priority?
Well, we've made it very clear what we've said about cameras on boats, and we've also said, we back our recreational fishers as well as commercial fishers. There's plenty for everybody, but we do need to also protect the environment and protect the stock.
The Greens would reduce bag limits. Would you support that?
We already have.
Well, yes, we already did before. Yep.
Well, we took the snapper limit down in the Waitemata Harbour and the other harbour on the other side.
Manukau.
Down to 7, I think, and cod limit down to 2 per person in the Challenger area. So we've been very responsive to the science that's been put in front of us when we were in government. We continue to be like that.
Paul Goldsmith said he was irritated by his error. Is that how you would categorise your feeling towards it, irritated?
No, not at all. In fact, I felt a bit sorry for Paul because he was feeling it so badly. He is a perfectionist, and he doesn't like to make any error at all. And I just think, look, the biggest error people need to worry about is the fact that a Labour government, if they're re-elected, will take away $3,000 from their back pockets.
Why no policy announcement from National today?
Oh, because I've got another one tomorrow.
But usually at a campaign launch, parties will unveil a big campaign policy as well.
Do you know, when you've got such enormous policy announcement as we did on Friday, why wouldn't we want to talk about that and just talk again about some of the big infrastructure projects, because we announced those quite some weeks ago now, so it's good to talk about them again and just start to show the whole plan coming through. But I've got another big announcement tomorrow, and there's a whole lot coming up this week.
When did you decide not to announce a policy? Was it this morning?
No.
Has that always been the plan?
No, when we first started talking about this, we knew that we had our tax policy was going to be coming up, and we wanted to make sure that we had that pretty much free time to talk about that.
It's
How's
not because
society going in terms of collecting donations in the sort of COVID environment? Is it a bit harder than normal because businesses, New Zealanders are feeling under the cosh financially?
That's not something we're experiencing so far.
As such, tracking with, say, 2017, 2014, a normal campaign for you guys?
Pretty much, just a bit down, but pretty much as we would expect. But look, everybody's finding it hard under this current environment.
Yeah, every small business owner in particular, by the way, who are just hearing that they're going to get whacked again next year if Labour gets in.
Just before you said that Donkey and Bill English were in the video, where were they in the video?
Oh, sorry, the one before. I think the very start we had them in there.
don't think
Mentioned
they
in there.
were.
Yep.
Yes, they were.
They are. They're both in there.
What-
You missed them? Jenna, fancy you
so.
missing that.
Are they going to feature in more National Party ads? So, for example, last election, Labor had Sir Michael Cullen in some of their ads promoting Labor's message. Is it going to be the same thing with the Honourables?
Well,
That's not our intention. In the end, you're talking about the future. They left New Zealand in an extremely strong position at the time of the 2017 election. Before we went into COVID, we had all of that surplus destroyed, and we've now got this massive deficits as far as the eye can see in front of us, with no return to prudent levels of debt for many, many years to come. And I think, if you go and talk to them, they'll say positive things because obviously we talk to them. They won't be featuring in any particular campaign advertising.
but they're on my Facebook page if you want to have a look.
What do you mean? Like,
And the ad. No. There's a nice big video up there about me, and they're both talking about me. That's what you're worried about, Jason. Thank you. Right, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Did we look after you? Yes, good. Excellent.
Like the snacks.
Good egg sandwich.
So
snack
there was no coal rain. It's from the other day, sorry.
Okay.